Hello guys, welcome to a new video of Khelo Chess India, and in today's video we are going to discuss the update on the FTX Cup. The FTX Cup has started in Miami on 15th August and we have our star, the great Pragananda, playing in this tournament, and these are the 8 players guys who are going to compete in this tournament. Carlson, Giri, Alireza Feroza, Hans Nilman, Levan Aronian, Duda, Pragananda, and Lim Quen Lee. Lim Quen Lee is from Vietnam. Most people you may not be knowing him, but he's a top player of Vietnam, guys. Okay, so these are all the top players from all over the world, and they are going to compete for this FTX Cup. Of course, Magnus is one of the favorites, but we have all the surprises coming from Pragananda. Two rounds have been over on 15th of August. The first round was over, and on 16th, the second round has been over. Pragananda was absolutely phenomenal in both the rounds. I'll quickly show you what happened. So we'll go to the schedule first. Let me explain the schedule first. The round one has started on 15th of August, and this is going to go up to 21st of August. There are going to be 7 rounds, so each player will be playing with each other 4 games. Okay. So day one, this was the pairing, and here Pragananda has beaten Ali Raza Feroza. So Pragananda completely dominated the games. He won comfortably against Ali Raza Feroza, and Ali Raza Feroza is, guys, one of the very cheeky players, you can say. He's a very good player in the world. Yes, this was a great win for Pragananda. And yesterday, guys, round number two, again, Pragananda was paired up against top player, that is Anish Giri. He's one of the best players from Netherlands. Is, I think, on the top right now. So here again, Pragananda managed to sneak a win yesterday, guys. He bet Anish Giri. Anish Giri did a small blunder in his middle game. I'll show that position, what happened in that game. But yes, guys, Pragananda was able to beat Anish Giri, and that is a very good result for Pragananda, guys. And in this tournament, Anish Giri, Magnus Carlsen, Aronian, these are all, and Alireza Feroza, these are all top players, guys, who are favorites. Right, and if you are able to beat the favorites, you are becoming the new favorite, right? So Pragananda has already become the new favorite, expecting him to win this tournament. Today, guys, today 18 CEST, this is the American time. So in India, it will be 9:30 p.m. So 9:30 p.m. guys, IST, you can switch on your YouTube channels. There's Chess Base India. You can also watch on our channel. There's Chess Base India, there's Chess24, Chess.com. Many channels, they are broadcasting this live. You can watch their commentary. So 9:30 guys, we have today's round, and today it's again going to be a great battle between Pragananda and Hans Nilman. It will be interesting to see this battle. I'll be very much happy if Pragananda wins today and beats Hans Nilman. So this is about the schedule. Tomorrow we are having again a great battle, Pragananda versus Levan Aronian. So remember guys, this is 9:30 p.m. India time. Okay, 9:30 p.m. IST. Here it is showing 18 CST, which is a US time. So watch out for this, and all these 7 rounds for Pragananda. It's going to be great for us to watch all of them. I'll be covering all of them. Now let's move on to the standings, the current standings. So guys, these are the standings. This is from the Chess24 website. You can go to first round here. In first round, you can see that Pragananda is playing over here, and he has beaten Ali Reza Feroza by 2.5 to 1.5 points. And if you go to the round number two, again yesterday Pragananda was playing against GM Anish Giri, and he was able to beat Anish Giri by 2.5 to 1.5 points. So it would be interesting to watch today's battle also between Pragananda and Hans Nilman. Let's see how the result come out from that battle. So guys, look out for this tournament. It's going to be exciting one, and we are going to cover all the results from these tournaments. So subscribe to the channel guys and press that bell icon to get all the updates. So guys, this is the game between Anish Giri and Pragananda was able to win this game. Pragananda is playing with black pieces here, and here Anish played a move which is rook to d3. This is a blunder actually in the middle game. This is a blunder, and can you guys pause the video and let me know why this is a blunder, guys? Go ahead, please. So if you have paused the video and you are ready for the answer, the reason this is blunder is with this move, rook to c2. Now black is trying to get a deflection for the queen. Right now the queen is trying to attack the rook, and if this queen captures the rook, let's capture the rook. Now queen takes rook, and we have a check to the king also attacking this pawn at the same time, and white would lose important pawn in the center, guys. Then once this pawn falls, this can also be captured by the knight or with the queen. It's a choice that black has, but the pawn which leaves on d4, then it becomes a isolated queen pawn, And isolated queen pawns are generally very weak and they can be attacked very easily there and giving a very good endgame to the black. So that was the idea behind sacrificing this rook on c2 after Anish played rook d3. Pragananda played rook c2, trying a deflection for the queen. So now Anish Giri would not like to leave this pawn or to lose this pawn. So Anish Giri played here bishop a3, but eventually after a couple of moves, one of the pawns have fallen. So after bishop a3 here, Pragananda played rook takes e2. The queen was taken. Anish Giri took the queen as well, black queen. Rook e1 check. Now bishop has to come back. Okay, bishop does not have sufficient time to capture the rook as it is a check. So bishop takes the rook, and after bishop takes the rook, knight takes on e4. So eventually this pawn fell apart, and this pawn was remaining on the board, which is the isolated queen pawn, which is a weak pawn. This definitely gives a very good advantage to black because now black has one of the outside passes. This pawn was captured later on in the game by Anish Giri, but definitely this game, look at the pawn structure. This pawn structure is very safe. Every pawn is coordinated, it is supporting each other. And look at this pawn structure. This is a major weakness on d4. So what happened was, guys, this d4 is not easy to save now. So let's quickly check what happened in the remaining part of the game and how Pragananda has beaten Anish Giri after reaching this position. So here, generally, when you have a weak pawn on d5 or d4, you just sacrifice it or you try to exchange the pawn, push the pawn, get rid of your weakness. If this weakness stays there for a long time, then definitely you can lose the pawn there. So knight to c5 now attacking the rook, and now rook moves to a3 attacking the pawn on a7. Pawn takes on d5 and now f3. So white does not want a good knight on f this e4, so white tries to kick the knight away by playing pawn to f3. Knight to g5, rook takes pawn, rook to c8, rook to a1, knight to e6, rook to d1 now, trying to attack the weak pawn there, and now pawn d4. So finally, now Pragananda decides, yes, I have the extra pawn, the advantage of extra pawn. Let me take advantage of this and let's try to start pushing this pawn to get a new queen now. So knight g4 was played, getting this bad knight in the game. This is one of the worst piece now, trying to get that knight in the game. Rook to b8 and now bishop to g3. So this bishop was also not doing much in the game. So bishop went back to g3 now, trying to attack the rook. Rook comes to d3, maybe now supporting these squares here so that the pawn can be pushed or the knight can advance and get some good position there. So rook after rook to b3, knight to f2 was played, knight a4, king f1, knight c3. Look at the way Pragananda has improved this knight. This process is called as IMR, improve, maneuver and regroup. Now this knight is not doing a great job here. It cannot go to e4, d3. Yes, there is a slight possibility in future that knight can go to d3, but it is very well defended right now by the rook and the knight. So it's better, right, to have this knight on c3 because we are controlling the queening square. Whenever the pawn will reach here, the knight would be supporting the d1 square. Also, there is a knight e2 check available, which is a fork to the king and the bishop. So knight to a4, king to f1. Now knight to c3 attacking the rook. Remember guys, this pawn is very well defended, so black or Pragananda does not need to worry about this pawn. They can just look at improving the pieces. And then rook to a1 was played, king to h7, bishop to d6, knight d5, and king to g1 now. After king g1, king g6, slowly improving the game. Of course, Stockfish says this is dubious move, but that's fine, I guess. From the human point of view, you know now it's an end game. You have to take the king to the center of the board, and yes, you put the king on g6 here. So rook to e1 here, trying to attack in this file. I think this is not much of a use. Maybe white is trying to go on e4 or trying to maybe some put some pressure on e6. Nothing much to do with this rook on e1. And now pawn to a5. Stockfish says rook a3 was better here instead of rook to e1. And if the rooks were exchanged, then white could have got some chance to hold this pawn. But right now this rook is very strong. So in the game, what happened was rook e1 was played, h5, bishop e5, knight e3. After knight e3, knight went to e4, and now h4. So again, this move, right, h5, h4 is one of the very nice techniques to get a nice outpost for your knight in future, or making sure there is no escape for the king in the endgame, and the king is absolutely trapped here on this king side on g1. Of course, they have this, but right now I don't think that's going to be much of useful. it will fall to some tactics. Maybe there is some kind of knight f4 later on in the game if the king is on f2, knight f4, knight to d3, or even this kind of threats. Of course, this knight is guarding now, but there are always a possibility. If a knight is coming up now, this knights both the knights are very close to the king. So if the king comes up, there's always going to be some tactics with the knights. Okay, so knight f2 was played here, making sure this square is guarded, the d3 square, and now knight to c4. Stockfish again says this is a blunder, but that's fine, guys. This is a human point of view. This move is absolutely okay. Now we are preparing to just push the pawn ahead, and now bishop goes back to h2. This is a blunder because now see, the bishop is absolutely on a bad square. Also, guys, knight c4. There is one of the ideas is to capture the bishop because this is the only piece which is having some kind of impact on the position. Once the bishop is gone, then the endgame would be in favor of black. And white should definitely try to avoid the exchange here. So bishop h2 was played. Of course, this is not an active square. They said bishop d4. The bishop should have been sacrificed here because this pawn is getting too strong. Give away your piece and try to continue from there. So the continuation that was suggested was bishop d4 here, knight d4, rook e4, attacking both the knights at the same time, knight f3, and so see, so white has given away a bishop, but he is getting one of the knights here, and black has to give the knight back, but black tries the most effective way to give the knight away. So knight f3, gf3. Now they have two weak pawns, and now knight to e2. Here, knight is doing a fork again on the rook on e4 and pawn on f3. So if the rook moves now, black can go knight takes f3 with a check, and again, and then black would be left with two extra pawns. Pragananda would be having a very good endgame then. Okay, so rook g4 check in this case, king f5, and now rook takes g7, knight f3 check, king g2, and now knight goes back to g5, supporting the pawn. So king is now okay right now. Black's king is absolutely fine, nothing to worry there. This pawn is there. Yes, this is an extra pawn, and black would try to win from this position with using this extra pawn. Of course, this is not going to be an easy endgame. It's going to be a long, tiring endgame, but definitely white had a better chances here if this line was played. So let's go back now. Few moves. Bishop d4 was played in the game. It was suggested by Stockfish. In the game, Bishop h2 was played, which is absolutely losing now. Now immediately the pawn starts rolling up. Pawn d3, knight to e4, pawn to d2, rook to d1, and now rook to d3. Finally, just concrete establishing this pawn on d2. It's a very strong pawn now. It's supported by the rook, supported by the knight, and the only piece which is not helping right now the pawn is the knight. So soon the knight would be coming into the picture. So king moves to f1, pawn f5 first, knight goes to f2, rook goes back first because we don't want any attacks on the rook there on d3. Rook goes back to a1, and now knight e3 check. This is just finishing the game now. Yes, as I said, the knight would come in the game, and this check, the king, if the king captures on e3, definitely we have this knight f2 fork, and then it's absolutely winning for black there. So in the game, white took on d2 there. Now we have knight b3 check, capturing the rook on a1. King takes the rook, knight takes the king takes the knight, and knight takes the rook on a1, and then knight to d3 here. So there was a long game going on for around 81 moves, but this is a very good position for black now because black is having a rook for a knight, and this went on for many moves. I'll just come to the end part now. So this is the end game, guys, wherein rook versus bishop end game was there. And again here, it's not, guys, it's not easy to execute all the plans here that you know in the end game. Yes, even though opponent has a minor piece, it is not easy to convert that advantage into win, especially when the king is very active. The king is blocking this pawn, right? So here rook takes f5, bishop takes g7, rook to g5. Again, this is a fork, right? So this was all calculated in the game. Bishop went back to d4, and now rook takes pawn on g2. King e3, and now rook to g6, king takes pawn, and now this rook takes pawn. And this is absolutely winning now for black because this again, right? This pawn is an opposite colored pawn of this bishop. Again, when the pawn is going to reach on h1, the bishop won't be able to control that queening square because it is a opposite colored bishop. Wrong corner, you can say, for the bishop. This pawn is in the wrong corner of the bishop. So king moves here, rook moves back, and again very important, cut off the king. Do not let the king cross this line and come near the queening square there. So they played bishop f2 and now h3. Remember again, guys, this is helping a lot for black, cutting off the king from coming ahead. uh, Bishop moves to g1 now, stopping this, and now simply rook to b2, Idea is to go this pawn to h2 there. So now, even if the king comes to g3, okay, even if the king comes to g3, can you guys pause and tell me how to win from this? So if you got this answer, guys, this is a very easy answer for the beginners. We simply have this rook g2 check, king takes the pawn and rook takes the bishop then, and then it's a simple rook endgame. Rook g2 check, king moves here, and rook takes bishop, and this is simply winning for black now. Okay, so that was the game, guys, and wonderful win by Pragananda. Absolutely phenomenal. He is at his best right now, guys. So today's game, Hans Nilman will be checking that game as well, and I hope Pragananda wins this tournament. Also beats Carlsen in this tournament. It will be phenomenal if he wins this tournament. So thank you guys for watching this video. For all the updates, do like the video, guys. Do subscribe and press that bell icon so that you never miss anything from us. Also, you can follow us on Instagram. The ID is mentioned in the description. Thanks, guys. Bye bye. See you. Take care till we meet in the next video.